Hi, I'm Gemma Montgomery and welcome to the Excel with Ease podcast, bringing together service-based business owners in the aesthetic, beauty, medical health and wellness sector. Here we discuss different topics that will help you grow your business with ease while supporting your ultimate life vision. Welcome to this week's podcast episode, talking to you on this gorgeous sunny dog walk with my working Cocker Spaniel, Mabel. So if this is your first time tuning in, my name's Gemma Montgomery and I've been an aesthetic nurse now for 17 years, running my own private practice within the north of England. I've been a UK trainer now since 2017, so for 3 years. I used to contract for one of the UK's national cosmetic training companies. And then when COVID hit, I decided to go it alone and set up my own training in 2020. But I wanted to do it with a bit of a difference, with a focus on small trainings, so 1-to-1, 2-to-1 trainings, with also a heavy focus on mindset, spirituality, inner work, which I truly believe is 90, if not 99%, the key to success in leading an abundant life, an abundant business on your terms. So everybody's definition of success is completely different. For me personally, it's about balance. It's about the business being able to help me create a beautiful life. So I never wanted to be injecting 5 days, 6 days a week, which we'll get into in a short while. For me, it was, how can I really maximise my hours that I'm willing to work? How can I create more freedom, more abundance in all ways, including financial, that's going to help me to then be able to enjoy life and not wait till that retirement age when we don't know whether we're going to be healthy. I mean, hopefully we all will. Hopefully we'll get there. Some people don't. So it's about, no, there's a life to be lived now and I want to live it fully. So, long introduction there, but this week I want to talk to you about my recent membership launch. So, membership launched on the 1st of June and it closed on the 30th of June. So, in a nutshell, 30k, 4 emails in 30 days, and memberships are now closed for the foreseeable future. I'll get in again as to why that is shortly. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you 3 things, practical things that I did differently in this launch, touch on the not so practical side of things, so more on the energetics, which I speak about in most of these podcast episodes. Before we get going, memberships for me have been absolutely life transforming. My only regret is that I didn't introduce them sooner. Why I waited so long, I'll never know. But again, with me, I've identified that I had this tendency to believe that things had to be perfect before I created them. I had a tendency to procrastinate, maybe worrying about things being hard. Did I have the capacity? Did I have what it takes? All again, limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves. But as we all know, if we don't take different action, we don't get different results. So I bit the bullet, and nearly 2 years ago, I decided to introduce memberships into clinic. And at the time, I did have help launching them. But again, that was me thinking everything just needed to be perfect, needed to be pretty, needed to be designed perfectly. And from this launch and the launch before, I've actually learned that it doesn't need to be that way just to get exactly the same results. So not to put things off until you feel that things are absolutely perfect. The key is to always just take the action, and you'll revise and you'll improve as you kind of go. But the key thing is to take the action, because with action comes clarity. Clarity doesn't come by just sitting, being in your head all the time. If you remember on last week's podcast, what we want to be doing is trying to move out of head and more into body to soul, so that we're making decisions from a place of connection with ourselves, not a place of disconnection. When we rush, when we're impatient, when we're not connected with ourselves, is when we tend to take action that's not aligned. So we want to make sure we're always taking aligned action. And the way that we do that is we always make sure that we're creating a really good connection with ourselves in whichever way that may be. So for me, I know I'm talking to you, but I'm out. It's beautiful. No other human in sight. These moors are just so gorgeous. I'm near the forests, and I know after having some really intense, long, demanding days in clinic that last night I finished my last person at 7 o'clock, and I was just kind of like, okay, get me out of here. Just get me out of here. I'd had enough. Knew that if it went into another day, I'd just be irritable, I'd be impatient, I'd probably start making more mistakes, not clinically, but probably mistakes admin-wise. I'd already accidentally had a problem with the booking in the morning yesterday, so I had somebody that came at 8:30, which in my diary wasn't in. I didn't have anybody in till 9:30, so I had to race up. Obviously, I was late, explained what had happened, that I'd not put it in the booking system properly, and subsequently lost money on that treatment because I felt it was only right to offer some kind of discount because my blunder impacted on her day then, which meant she was late for her client, which meant she had to cancel her, which meant she was losing money. So it all had a knock-on effect. So this is why I know myself, and I know that just stuck inside a clinic room 5 days a week injecting isn't the goal. It isn't the goal just to get as many people through the door as I can and just inject. It's like, no, what do I want? What do I want my life to look like? And how much am I willing to do in terms of injections so that I can have freedom and I can create a rich, abundant life on my terms? And everybody's terms are different. So for me, this is just heaven. Being out, just staring into space, just gorgeous fields all around, trees. I can put my music on if I want to. I got up, I went to a class. I did reformer. Tomorrow I'm going to go to the gym. And because movement's a huge part of life for me, I want to age well, I want to feel good as I age, strong in my body. So it's important for me that those things are incorporated into my life. And if I was just injecting, hunched over a bed 5-6 days a week, what quality of life is that? The same with if you want to scale and grow huge members of staff, that does come at a price. It's another entanglement, it's another burden if it's not handled properly. So I know what makes me tick. I know what I'm like as a human, what I need to be able to function optimally. And yesterday at 7 o'clock, I wasn't functioning optimally. Went straight to the car, put my music on full blast and just drove. And then I thought, I'm going to need some sugar. So I pulled at the services and I got some chocolate from M&S on the go and a cup of tea. And I thought, just downed about 5 little brownies in one go. And I thought, no, this is again how you get into sort of bad habits, because you've got to listen. You've got to know when enough's enough, and you've got to know what you need as a human. And we can only do that if you remember what I talked about last week. We keep that good connection to ourselves at all times. So for me, memberships have really helped to regulate my nervous system. So I know that if there's gaps in the diary, I'm not going to start panicking, thinking, oh my God, what's my income going to be this month? I know what my income's going to be. I know what's come through from memberships on each launch that I've done. And I'll be okay on the membership income alone. Absolutely fine. Everything else that comes through, because I've got loads of people that are not on memberships as well, that's just great too. I know it's a little bit like having the benefits of working for somebody where on the first of every month, money comes in, and then you can sort things out. You can plan in business, you can plan in life, you can forecast better. You're not worrying what's coming in month by month. Don't get me wrong, with memberships, you've got to take out your tax, you've got to take out your product costs, things like that, all your normal costs that you would have running a business. But you still know that there's that chunk of money coming in and you've got some element of being able to breathe. It just gives you space. So yeah, for me, memberships were just a game changer. I'm probably going to create a little course on memberships to help people, but there are several keys to it which I won't go in now, which I believe makes the membership more successful. So I'll only touch on one of them, and one of them is not to keep memberships just open all the time. So if you've got mind like me, then you might get a little bit lost on keeping up with things and the admin side of things if you just don't know when someone starts the membership, when someone's finished the membership, what's going on. And by making sure, like, I only opened it twice a year, by doing that, I knew there was a January cohort and a June cohort. And I would just say to them when they came in, before even getting the file up, are you June or are you January? So I knew when they were due to finish, when they were due to expire. That kept it really clean with sending emails out. For instance, for the last June cohort, there were people due to finish, as well as me doing the launch at the beginning of June. People had been on since the June before. So they would all receive an email saying, do you want to continue? If you don't, here's an opt-out box. So for those that want to opt out, they would literally just put their email address in, opt out, and that was just nice and clean and quite simple. Luckily, I didn't get any opt-outs really. I think I got 2. I did get people wanting to move on to different kinds of packages. So it just keeps like the admin really slick and really clean. Whereas if people are just jumping on at all different times, it can be quite heavy to manage. And obviously, if you're busy injecting, you're going to have to bring somebody in or pay somebody to be able to manage that, which is an extra cost that I believe you don't really need if you want to keep things nice and lean and you want as much freedom as you can within your business. So that's the only thing I'll touch on with logistically with regards to memberships in that way. But I chose to just open it twice a year, so I had clean cohorts. I knew what I was doing. So remembering all the time to come back to your big why. So for me, this launch, I decided to make it the last one for the foreseeable future. And that's again because if I take too many more members in, I'm going to come away from the reason why I'm doing this. And I'm going to end up having to inject a lot more days a week, which I didn't want to do. So at the moment, members only come to me. They don't go to any other staff members. So they don't go to Pauline. She's the other nurse that works alongside me. I will have another nurse coming on in September, a lovely nurse that I've trained up from scratch, that I've got a great personal relationship with. We've got the same morals, the same ethics. Faye, she's called. She's going to be coming on in September and helping out a couple of days a month, which I think will be just great. She's lovely and it'll be a really good addition to the team. So at the moment, members just come to me. That's one of the perks of being on the memberships. But if I do launch any more and people want to be on a membership and they begin to trust the rest of the team, then it might mean that we can accommodate more members, because it's not going to pull me away from my why, my reason for having this business in the first place. So again, I'm quite strict to what I will and what I won't do. But again, that's going to rely on me making sure that I pick people as part of the team that are very aligned, that I can trust with the people that come through the door. Because remember, I've built this up for nearly 2 decades. It's precious to me. People trust me. They trust my name. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. It was classed as the last launch. So let's summarise what happened. So 30k, 30 days, 4 emails and 2 SMS. That's basically the launch summed up. So doors opened on the 1st of June and they closed on the 30th of June. And throughout that time, I sent out just 4 emails. So an email introducing that memberships were opening again, when they would close, what the memberships were about. I had a sales page that basically prospective members could refer to and they could see what's available. On the sales page, I've got ready-made packages that are just there, ready to go, ready for people to purchase. So these your obvious ready-made packages for things that people come solidly for 3 times a year. Your regular anti-wrinkle injection clients, microneedling clients, just things that people tend to repeat for that are quite obvious. They're ready to go, ready for people just to get. Then I did have the option to tailor make your own membership, but in the beginning I wasn't sure how labour intensive building packages were kind of going to be, how much admin it were going to take. So I decided to pick 3 price points. So a 166 a month, a 199 I think it is, and a 266. And basically within that monthly price bracket, we can tailor make the treatments that people think they might need. So that was all there. That was on the sales page, ready to go. 4 emails, strategically placed at different times. And then within the emails, I wanted to make sure that I could just give some really good before and after pictures with a huge emphasis on a multi-layered approach. Because as we all know, again, I spoke about this a couple of podcast episodes ago, the days of one treatment, one hit wonders, waving your magic wand with one treatment are gone. And to get the best results for our clients, patients, whatever term you want to use, we have to work in a multi-layered approach. We have to think in layers. I'm not going to teach you how to suck eggs if you do this for a job, but you know that different treatments work on different layers of the skin. So the emails that I sent had a huge emphasis on transformation, basically. The befores, the afters, what was involved, how easy it was, what this would cost the person each month. So I think it definitely worked really, really well. Remember, I've got no social media at all with regards to work. So I'm just solely relying on my email database. Which again, I talk about this all the time, don't rely on social media. Your key has to be marketing to your email database. That's where the gold is. That's where your clients are that are already interested or they're already invested in you because they come for treatments. So always utilise that first and foremost. So I had no social media to create a buzz at all, just for emails with what I've said in them. Then I thought, right, okay, what else could I do that I haven't done that's right under my nose that could really maximise this? So the system that I've got enables you to send SMS, so text message, out to your database for a small cost. Well, for me, the return on investment were a little bit of a no-brainer. So I sent out 2 text messages, and basically it's all done from the back end of your system. You can only really write a short amount of text, otherwise it ends up coming through as 2 or 3 sometimes text messages. So I did a short text message, and then you can link it out to an external source. So I linked the sales page. And I think that again was another game changer, because many people that come through my doors are very much like me. They've probably got 3,000 personal emails that they've not read. Don't get me wrong, I keep on top of my work one, but my personal one goes to shit sometimes. So, and I think most of us are the same. We tend to prioritise the work, and the rest of the admin, life admin can just go down the swanny sometimes, can't it? So SMS worked. It's straight away. People get a text. They might have missed their emails. And then if they want to look at it and go back to it at a later date, it just sits there in the messages. So that was definitely a game changer. That was another thing I did that was different on this launch. The third thing I did was I ended up letting people have the opportunity to tailor make their membership with something else that they might have in mind. So it does sound a lot saying I've got 17 packages and 3 of those are bespoke options within those price tiers. But there was always people that would come to me that could never seem to make anything fit, just all the time. And I thought, well, I can't just have it a never-ending list on there for every eventuality, because through every launch, somebody has always come and said, oh, I really want to be on a membership, but I just can't make it fit. So in the past, I've kind of just had to suck it up really and just thought, well, I can't really do any more. I've got the packages there. If we can't make them fit, then that's that, because it's going to be too labour intensive to start creating lots of multiple bespoke packages. But this time, because it was the last one for the foreseeable, I thought, you know what? I'm going to give it a go. How hard can it really be? I have a plugin for my subscription, so it runs, it's quite seamless actually how it runs in the background. So I just started with one person. She told me what her skin goals were, and I went back to her with 2 to 3 different options that she could choose from, because sometimes clients, they feel uncomfortable talking about money, they feel uncomfortable talking about budgets. So I'd give sort of 3 different options within the treatments that they were looking for. And that was an absolute game changer. And for me, not difficult. Now, this is where you've got to realise what can hold you back sometimes. So for me, I held off memberships for so long because I thought it had to look absolutely perfect and absolutely slick. I had to have the right templates. It just had to look like this, like that. And actually, just take the action, because by me just letting loose a little bit and letting go of the grip on this last round of memberships was what actually got the membership revenue to where it was really. So I didn't have any fancy Canva templates. We just literally decided with one another what options would be best, what they would be on for the next 12 months. And then I just listed it in their own unique product link, what was in there, and literally no fancy Canva template, just my logo. That was it. I just thought, come on, Gemma, get it done, Stop being such a perfectionist. The key again is in the action. Otherwise, nothing's going to change. So yeah, it was literally like the easiest job that I've ever done. I didn't need those 3 tiers of price points and the fancy templates. Don't get me wrong, it's great, they're there, but people just wanted something a little bit more unique and bespoke to their budget. And by just taking the action and giving it a go, I realised it's not as hard as what you think. Yeah, it might not look as slick, it might not look as polished, but they've got what they wanted and I've got what my clinic needed to keep it functioning, to keep me being able to plan, to keep my nervous system at rest. So yeah, so that was an absolute game changer. So they're the 3 things that I did differently. I secured revenue now for the next 12 months, but just by, a real sense of ease, 4 emails and 2 text messages, no big fancy launch, not stressing, what'll be, will be. And it created the same as what most of the launches do, if not more, really, on some of them. So what I kind of learnt from that was, I'll move on to the other part now, which is the energy that you hold inside. So I don't have social media, which again does stop a lot of that pushing out and that stressing and that fixating energy. But I chose to just approach this from a sense of trust, a sense of peace, and just a sense of embodiment. This is who I am. This is what I've got to offer. And just trust that the right people will see it and the right people will be magnetized to it. I had a really actually active social month, so I wasn't sat stressing about the numbers all the time and who was coming through the door. I just let it be, and I went out to lots of gigs. It was my birthday, went spa days, just had fun basically throughout the month of June. Lots of time on my own, like I've got now, walks in solitude, just basically not stressing, just coming from a place of trust, surrender, and it's going to be okay. And when you're in that push energy all the time and you're in your head and you're stressing and you're worrying and you're fixating on numbers and it's got to be this way, it's got to be this way, you create resistance. You create your resistance to the very thing that you're wanting to magnetize in. So it's again remembering to come out of your head, come back into your body, breathe, trust, and just drop the resistance, drop the pressure, and still live a whole life, and concentrate on doing things that light you up, that are fun, that are not always related to your bloody business. Like we can just get addicted to our businesses, can't we? Definitely. It can become an addiction, can your business, and being a little bit of a workaholic. So that was it. It was ease, it was flow. And I did have a figure in mind, and ironically, by being in ease, being in flow, not thinking about it too much, I closed at the figure more or less exactly that I had in mind. So big lessons on that, really. And another thing I want to touch on before I finish is I want to thank the person, whoever it was, that targeted my social media and took down 16 years worth of content. I did take it to the police at the time, and it was investigated, and they looked into it, cybersecurity and everything, and they said, yeah, it was definitely like a targeted attack, but we'll never know who was responsible. Just too difficult. People use VPNs and all sorts, don't they? But I truly believe that was meant to happen for a reason. So I kind of want to thank the person that was responsible, because you've really helped me. You've helped me be able to re-regulate my nervous system, drop back into my body, be able to go back into trust, flow, surrender, have fun, not be consumed by social media constantly, and know that at the moment it's not affected business at all. In fact, if anything, by me being in a better energy and being more regulated, things are flourishing. So yeah, just a big thank you to whoever that was. I'm not sure if they're listening, but you never know, do you? And then just one more final thing is, just sometimes we don't take the time to stop, and when we've achieved something or a milestone or something that we want to achieve in business, we don't often stop and congratulate ourselves and like pat ourselves on the back. And I've tried to really be conscious of that, and I've done that this time. And when the launch closed, I'd had a really busy day at work. It was a week after, actually. I knew obviously what the figures were, and I knew that what that would mean, just giving me that sense of being able to breathe again by adding to the memberships all the time. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to treat myself to a hotel tonight. It was red hot. Sometimes I do treat myself to a hotel, but this time, where, it's because obviously my workplace is nearly 2 hours away. Often I do stay with family as well, but I thought, no, it's red hot. I'm going to go to a nicer hotel where it's air conditioned, where there's a pool, where there's a gym, where there's somewhere nice to get breakfast, nice to get coffee. And I'm going to give myself that gift. And I did. I had a beautiful night's sleep, all air conditioned in this red hot heat, left for work in the morning, grabbed a nice coffee to take away. I didn't actually use the pool. I think I was so tired. I slept. But the thought was there. I just didn't do it. But I came out of the hotel that morning and the sun was shining. And I thought, do you know what, Gemma? Pat yourself on the back because, like, you've done this. You've created this. This is not about the memberships. I don't mean that. I mean, you've created this business that is helping you create a lovely life of freedom in whichever way you choose to see what freedom is. So for me, I'm saying this now and I'm looking out and all I can see is just vast expanse of trees and hills and there's not a soul in sight. I don't have to go and inject 6 days a week. I can get a really good salary doing no more than 6 to 8 injection days a month. And I'd created that. I had a vision. I knew what I wanted. And me alone, I got myself into this position of being able to give myself that gift. Gave myself that gift through really going all in, looking at where I hold myself back, looking at where I self-sabotage, and choosing to step into my full potential and create a business that supports a life, not the other way around. Nobody's done it for me. My husband didn't do it for me. My parents haven't done it for me. I don't come from money. What I mean is I haven't had anything handed to me to be able to start a business or be able to take a break. I come from a very, normal working class family. And yeah, I've created this, and whilst it not be, it's not multi-million pounds, it's comfortable and it's giving me a life of balance. So yeah, so I just thought, yeah, go Gemma, you've done this. I never do that normally, but you've created this for yourself. Nobody's done it for you. That's your business is simply a representation of you, of your energy field. So if this business keeps giving to me the way it is and showing up for me the way it is and giving me this freedom, then that's me doing that. That's me showing up for myself constantly. That's me giving myself the gift of freedom. So I guess for me, the next stage is, right, okay, how can I get excited? How can I create even more freedom than that? Because I didn't think that was possible at one point, but actually, how could I just do it even more? And I believe this is probably through helping more people far and wide create this for themselves. I think I've got a real sort of, if I tune in, a real passion and probably a bit of a skill for helping other people transform and being able for them to be able to go inwards and to be able to reflect and things like that. So I'd love to be able to help more people outside my geographical location with all this kind of stuff. So this is why obviously the training academy is going to be changing. It's going to be going into more mentorship, memberships, that kind of thing. But again, I don't have to wait till everything's shiny, everything's perfect and it looks perfect. I'm happy to help now. So if there's something that you're struggling with or you want me to just help you get things back on track, you want to start doing things from a sense of embodiment, a sense of ease, not a sense of push and a sense of stress and a sense of burnout, and you're feeling a little bit lost, then reach out and I can help. We can come to some sort of arrangement between each other, and that'll help me then hopefully refine how I can do it then on a larger scale going forward. But I don't want perfectionism to stop me helping other people. And I think after being on this journey in this business for 17 years, but also things that I don't talk about often, well, I don't talk about them, quite private, but things from, birth up to now that I've tackled, it's been a pretty lifelong process for me. So reach out, and I hope these podcasts are of some benefit. I love it when you reach out, when you tell me things. So yeah, just remember your big why and sit and think about that before you think about money, before you think about clients through the door. Just sit and think about how you want your life to be, how you want it to look. I know for me, a big one, as the kids get older, I might want to travel more, be in clinic a little bit less, which is why I'm looking at other team members and things like that. I don't live near my hometown anymore. So I hope you've enjoyed, and I shall speak to you soon. You take care. For listening to this episode, I hope you discovered some useful tips and takeaways. Don't forget to please rate, review and subscribe, and as always, pass on to a friend who you think will find this podcast super useful.